Sasha Hidalgo and my partner.
I'm Robert Behar.
And we are covering the topic mentally ill persons and firearms, which is somewhat of a law here in Florida. The law actually states that the person will not be able to, the state of Florida cannot issue a license to a person to carry a concealed weapon. But by the time that a person applies to actually, to get a license for their weapon, they already have the weapon. So the damage could have already been made. So there it is. So when purchasing a firearm, there is only one criminal history record check, which is your criminal history, which could be convicted of a felony, a misdemeanor, some sort or whatever. Technically, they only check your criminal record when you are going to buy a gun. It's as easy pretty much as walking into a Walmart or even going to a gun store and waiting the amount of time, which is, 1 to 2 weeks, for you to be able to have this weapon. I don't know if you guys are familiar or are do you like police shows such as Criminal Minds or CSI and stuff like that. I relate to this because I love cases, and a lot of cases in which people are mentally ill and have done damage in some way with weapons, they tend to have the cleanest records. They're out of the radar completely, and they're just crazy. But they tend to have the cleanest criminal records for some reason. It's ironic. But so our point of view, what we're trying to say is we want to do that sort of check, that mental illness kind of thing before you actually issue the weapon. Okay, so I've already mentioned this. They will not issue the license to carry a concealed weapon if the applicant has already been committed to a mental institution or so forth. This is to get your license for your weapon, which you probably already had because, like I said before, they just check your criminal record.
Alright, I'm going to give statistics because for some reason everybody loves statistics. Alright, 70% of homicides are gun-related. Alright. In 2010, which is the most recent number I was able to find, over 19,000 people that were involved in a gun-related homicide. There was some type of mental illness with not the victim, the protagonist. Yes, perfect. And in inmates, there's over 2 million inmates that have some type of mental illness that has been documented. Just those only that are documented. There's more, they assume the same number that are undocumented. Next. So these are the murders in firearms in Florida. Obviously, a number skyrocketed recently with all these new gun sales, and this new fad obsession with guns. They've recently tried to cut back and enforce some stricter policies that have reduced the numbers in the last few years. But unfortunately, it's still very easily accessible to get a gun. And so the solution to the problem, we've tried to come up with a couple. Which the first step would be, starting with a database. The thing is, with problems such as this, it's always changing. It's always adapting. There's so many different areas that you need to tackle that we thought it's better get one area first and then take care of that and then move to the next one. Take it step by step. So the first one would be to deal with mental health. The mental health problem in the United States and Florida in general, and specifically, is severe. We don't have a way of really understanding and taking control and documenting everybody that's had a problem. You can check yourself into a mental institution, and 2 days later be like, I don't want to be here anymore. Check myself back out. How is that possible? How can I walk in and then be like, I don't feel like you guys are doing anything, and walk back out? Obviously I came in because I was crazy. You have to let me know that I'm not crazy before I can leave. So we established a database with the records, medical records, specifically mental health, and to avoid any, private information getting out, any confidence, it would be, this person was checked in. The doctor, there's a database with all the gun places that sell guns and all the medical facilities. The doctor writes, this is it. So once the person registers, have different information that just gives the general information so you could know who it is. And it'll be a red flag. Now you have to go to the doctor, and once you get to the doctor, he can clear you to buy a gun. And then you have to come back. So this process, it'll be more extensive, probably not like, oh, I go in, I sign my paper, and then I come back 2 weeks later. There's a process and a system that documents it. Next, there'll be a database for criminals. Also, it's the same database that shows both. If you have charged a felony, you cannot buy a gun. That's it. You can't buy a weapon. If you're charged with a misdemeanor that is specific to domestic violence, you are not allowed to buy a weapon. Okay. We established a similar one for medical health, which is if you've been sent to by the court, sent to a mental institution, you cannot buy a weapon. If you do, you need to get clearance. And the reason we did it is because some people, sometimes people say something stupid, you get into a fight with your girlfriend, you're like, you need to stop talking to me, I'm going to blow my head off. People think you're crazy, you want to commit suicide, and then if somebody reports that, you're automatically sent to a mental institution. So we put kind of a disclaimer to clear those innocent people.
Just to add on what he said, because people right now that are charged with domestic violence, if they're able to buy a gun or whatever 5 years after that charge. So regardless, they still have the chance to do so, but it has to be 5 years after, but that doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, let's be honest, once you hit somebody, you're going to have a
Alright, so this is just a couple lists of states and how they restrict gun ownership to the mentally ill. As you see, this list here requires a court order to restrict ownership. Arizona, Delaware, Idaho, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Utah. And this list requires a court order of an involuntary commitment to mental health facility, which is double of the other lists.
Now, see, Florida, it falls under, requires an involuntary commitment only. So if I walk in, then that restricts me from getting a gun. But the thing is, these are not easily enforced. There's no way really to check what's going on. As like you said, most people have the gun before. And I just go walk in 2 weeks later, a week later, they have my gun because there's the mental health system, it has not established a concrete method to check and provide the information to the people who provide the guns.
Oh, and two of the states that got cut off from this list, Indiana and Oklahoma. If somebody with a mental illness or whatever does some sort of damage, it goes back to the person that sold the gun, or let's say the gun shop, for instance. It will go back to them. I don't know why that is, but those are the only 2 states out of our 50 that do that. And, thank you very much for your time.